This is the Durston X-Dome, a highly innovative, freestanding, ultralight backpacking tent. I put out a video on this recently with 8 things that were wrong. And Dan Durston, the guy who actually designed the tent, replied and showed me that maybe there are a few things that I'd gotten wrong in the setup process that caused 1 or 2 of those problems. Today, I'm going to take you through how to avoid that particular problem. And the issue is the problem of the baggy inner. It is worth saying I have another video of this tent on my channel where I unbox it, and I had this issue from new. Straight out of the pack, I had this problem. However, I'm going to go through getting this tent set up. I'll show you what the issue is, how we cause the baggy inner, and how we resolve it so that you can get a much more comfortable night in the woods in the Durston X-Dome. So the tent looks like it's up, but it's not up. At the moment, I haven't attached the inner to the inside. Personally, I find it quite awkward to find the right attachments scrabbling around underneath the tent. So I like to tip the tent up on its side and then attach the inner. And you'll see here some of the issues that we've got. So let's get that done right away. Now you can see just how baggy the inner is. I've had this problem out of the box from when this tent was new. I even added an extra knot in this string here to try and tighten it up. Now what Dan has suggested is that the issue is caused by these outer attachments being too tight relative to the poles. So what we need to do is slacken those off, and that's going to pull the inner so that it's much, much tighter. So having slackened off the adjustments on the outer, you can see that my inner is now sharp and taut, which is much, much nicer. Unfortunately, this isn't clear when you buy the tent, and as I mentioned, mine arrived already in this condition. So Dan's recommendation is that you always slacken these off, then you position the tent on the ground, then you stake the tent out, and then you can tighten them. Now this means that every single time you put the tent up, you have to go around, slacken off, stake out, tighten up again. You can't leave it in one specific setting, because then you're going to end up with a very baggy inner. So the tent's staked out. I haven't yet tightened the outer, but you can see how baggy it is. So I'm now going to go around, tighten all of the corners and make sure we've got a really tight fit, and then let's have a look and see if the tent has that look that we want. So the good news is the outer is now quite tight. I couldn't get to this corner, so I can't tighten this bit up, but overall I think it looks fine. But let's have a look inside and see what we've got for the inner. So I'd say the inner is now tight and it's very uncreased on the inside. I'm really, really happy to have discovered the best way of pitching this tent because, as I said before, I do love this tent. I do think it'd be extremely useful if Dan and the team at Durston could add adjustments to the inner, so to the straps on the inner. I'm guessing the reason they haven't is they want to be able to ensure that gap between the inner and the outer. Although I have to say, I do think that that gap between the inner and outer is not quite large enough because I have had condensation issues in this tent when camping in the UK. And look at what happens as soon as you remove the stakes. You've got your baggy inner problem again. It's just how it is. It's a freestanding tent, but it does require stakes. So is it a freestanding tent? Well, yes it is, but it still requires you to stake it out. But no one's really camping in a freestanding tent without adding the stakes in, are they? So yeah, there you go. It has the advantage of freestanding, meaning you can move it around after you position it to make sure you've got it exactly where you want it, and it's less reliant on those stakes in poor wind conditions. Thank you very much for watching this short video on the Durston X-Dome 1 Plus. I hope this has been useful. Please do let me know in the comments if you have this problem and if the solution maybe was already obvious to you, but it wasn't to me, and I'm very glad to have found it. Catch you on the next one.